In this section of tonight's class, we're going to be talking about barriers to distance education. This information can be found in Simonson's book in Chapter 3 and the additional attachment to this portion of the lesson. Preparing a course online requires a much higher initial investment of time by a faculty member than teaching the same course in a traditional format. Also, traditional processes continue to govern approval of online offerings. So regardless of whether online courses are developed through faculty initiative or whether they're instituted centrally by high-level administrators, the course creation and approval process is still quite traditional and follows the old model of in-class, on-the-ground course development. Most institutions pay more attention to how their online offerings are actually presented, mainly because they're more visible to the world than traditional courses. Since they can be viewed and taken by anyone in the world, there's a higher level of scrutiny attached to online education sometimes. As a result of that, there's sometimes fear and trepidation about actually moving into the world of online education. And again, paying faculty to create high quality courses is sometimes difficult for institutions. What about teachers' resistance? A lot of times faculty fear that online instruction will be used to diminish faculty ranks. Online instruction is alien to most faculty and calls into question the very reason that many pursued an academic career in the first place. Most faculty teach as they were taught. Many of these faculty view online instruction skeptically, both because it differs from how they learned and how they were taught, and because they fear it will distance them from their students. In the absence of good data on learning outcomes, these same faculty members are often skeptical that a student can learn as much online as they can on the ground. Faculty are extremely reluctant to teach courses that they do not own. Except for some faculty hired specifically to teach online, most faculty express little interest in teaching online courses that are developed by third parties. Faculty may be reluctant to embrace a course that does not allow for a high degree of customization in how, what, and when relevant material is presented to their students. 3 myths about online education here. Myth 1, the more interaction there is in a distance education class, the better. Interaction is needed, it should be available. However, it is not the end-all and be-all of learning. It does not magically improve distance learning. Interaction is important, however, if it's forced interaction, it can be as much of a detriment to learning as the absence of interaction can be. Some of the more traditional online courses were taught using the method where people have to post messages on a message board and other students are required to respond to those messages. In situations like that, sometimes there was very little interaction between the content of the course and the students, and even less interaction between the teacher and the students. Myth number 2, instructor training is required for anyone planning to teach at a distance. This is not necessarily true because the teacher really needs to be competent in their subject area. In fact, course delivery specialists can be involved to handle all the technical aspects of content delivery. In a situation like that, lecture capture can be used, and the teacher can go about their teaching as they always have in front of a classroom, while the course delivery specialist handles the capture of the video, the repurposing, and then the presentation for online offerings. Myth number 3, using instructional technology in teaching is e-learning, and this is the same as distance education. These terms are not synonymous here. In fact, e-learning is considered an outdated term by some. E-learning is any facilitation of electronically based classroom or out of class content delivery or learning tools. So the computer in the class, the computer outside the class, all considered as a part of e-learning or instructional technology. So that can be used in the classroom as well as at a distance. On the flip side of that, distance education can include a lot of things that are really not highly technical at all. Things like correspondence courses. So those are the three myths, and these are the barriers to distance education. Now there is an attached article that you're welcome to read, and then proceed to the next section.